So let's welcome Bill Beddoes to the front of the room. Here he comes.
I'm a full-time real estate investor. I refer to myself as successfully unemployed. When I had to leave my job in October of 2008 because I owned the company and it was time to close the doors because we were losing too much money on my previous retail stores. So I'm the vice president of the Real Estate Investors Association of Wayne County. I'm a member of the Rental Property Owners Association of Michigan, and as of Monday, I should be their brand new statewide treasurer. So, and of course, I got my start here with Ted back in August of 2008, and we met in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I do Jackson County, Monroe County, and also Lenawee County. And getting ready for the auctions, the first thing that I do is I drive the properties. I take pictures. Then we go back to pretty much the office, look things up on the MLS, check the property taxes that are current on them. Because in the first round, you're paying the previous 3 years' taxes. They may have changed between then and the new year. They could have gone up or gone down. Then I go to the auction, and I'm single, so I do this because I do enough volume with my realtor. He does the driving the properties with me and goes to the auction with me, and we actually discuss the value of the properties so that I bid on the best ones as far as what we're going to be able to resell them for at the auction. Okay. I was bidding on numerous lots in the second round, and the bidding is done in the very first auction of the year. Everything goes for the back taxes and fees, which is everything that's owed to the county. The second auction of the year, the starting bid is at $100. So that's how I was able to get a bunch of lots at $100. So, all right. The very first auction I went to last year, I picked up 6 properties. Out of those 6 properties, I got 3 houses, 1 commercial building, and 2 vacant lots. At the second auction I went to, I got 22 lots in 1 subdivision that you're going to see shortly, 5 additional lots scattered around the county, and I picked up 2 houses at that auction also. All right. This is where my 22 lots are. This is Brandon Estates. When they went to the first round, they were between $2,700 and $3,000. Because I bought them in the second round, opening bid was $100. I purchased them from $100 to $800. Most of the utilities are in, the sewer, the streets. They have electricity access. There's approximately 12 fully finished built homes that people are living in right now. The people who bought those homes originally paid between $30,000 and $36,000 for their lots to build their homes on them, and I've got them listed for $9,900 each. This is the map of the subdivision, and I'm going to use the pointer here. This area right here is where the main road is, okay? Okay, it's right, well, just take the very right edge of the slide. That's where the main road is that goes through. And then from here to here is just kind of some vacant land. And then the roads, you can see where the roads are, that once this whole process is completed and gets built out, there's a whole nother plan to put another section of the subdivision down here, which is really farm fields today. So there's plans out there to probably double or triple the size of this development. So the ones that are in green are the ones that I own. And so I tried to get them in pairs or a couple of them together, that kind of stuff. And you know, that's where you're going to do your best. Right here, you notice how that's extra wide? There is a house on that lot, and the person bought 2 lots and had their house built directly in the center of those 2 lots. So there is precedent already in the subdivision for that. In addition to that, at the first tax sale, I bought this house on Clark Street, and I paid $6,200 for it. Sold it for $30,000, making a profit of $23,800. And what else you don't know is $6,200 was the back taxes and fees. That was the opening bid. Nobody bid me up on it. Okay? So that's impressive. I did not have to pay the current year's taxes or any realtor commissions or any closing commissions based on who I sold it to. So it was strictly what I sold it to less that. The person who bought it paid the closing fees. He was the realtor, so he didn't charge me or him a commission. And very successful doing it that way. Okay, this is Cass Street. This is in the same city where the other one was, and it's kind of a lake community. It's called Vandercook Lake. And I purchased this one at the tax sale for $10,000, sold it for $30,000, net profit of $20,000. It did start around $8,000 at the sale. I did get bid up a little bit on this one. This is Bird Street, and ignore the fact that it looks kind of dingy because the picture was taken late at night when we couldn't find the picture and we had to retake it. But this is only a 1-bedroom house, which is a really unusual property in Michigan. At the first round of the auction, where things start at the back taxes and fees, bidding was pretty furious on this house. It was sold for a little more than $10,000. Okay? When the new catalog came out, about 2 weeks before the second round, Bird was on there. So I don't know if the person didn't go to the cashier's window at the auction, or they couldn't accept the kind of money he had that day, or what the problem was, but this is the first time I've ever seen something that I know has sold on the first round appear in the second round.
Second round? Can you explain that to me, what that's all about?
Okay, the first round, the first auction is for back taxes and fees.
I got it.
Okay. The second round is stuff that didn't sell in the first, the first auction.
Oh, it's a subsequent.
And they want to dump it because the county doesn't want to own stuff. So each county in Michigan can pick their starting bid. This county picks $100. Some counties pick $500 for the second round to get rid of as much stuff as they can and put it back on the tax rolls.
And does that work for them? I mean, is the second round, that subsequent auction, is there a lot of activity at that? Same number of people, just a few people? Is there an opportunity there?
There's a great opportunity there. The first round, there was about 300 people there.
Wow.
I'm guessing the second round, the second auction, which is 45 to 50 days later, we had approximately 250 people there.
Really?
And maybe really half went on the first round, which was about 420, so figure 210 went. On the second round, probably all but maybe 8 or 10 properties went.
Okay, now give me 1 minute to put this in perspective for everybody in the room.
Sure.
He's working in Wayne County, correct?
No, this is Jackson County. I live in Wayne County.
Okay.
I don't go there.
Okay, all right, good. All right, so Jackson County in comparison to Wayne County is what in population?
The biggest city has 30,000 in population.
In Jackson County?
In Jackson County. In the little suburb I live in Wayne County, we have 30,000 people in my tiny suburb.
Okay, now hold your thought, hold your thought. Okay, let's put this in perspective. Detroit is made up of 2 major counties. One, and correct me if I say something wrong. Yeah, one is Oakland County, and the other is Wayne County. So he's going to be in Detroit doesn't have 2 million like it used to, but it's still got close to 1 million, about 800,000 in Detroit. So that's why when he said 300, I was a little bit surprised. But this auction in Jackson County is drawing people from Detroit proper, probably, huh?
Not too much.
Just from your county?
Most of them are from Jackson County for the most part.
So you get good participation if you get 300 people. How many bidders at that auction?
Probably half, but the average bidder only bids on one.
Okay.
It's usually the property down the street, next door, that kind of stuff.
Okay.
And sometimes they don't get it, so they walk away with nothing.
Okay.
So.
All right, that's good. I didn't want to interrupt you too long,
Okay.
but I just want to get a perspective there.
Okay.
Thank you.
One other piece of things for clarification, where I live, in Wayne County, they had 22,504 pieces of property at the auction last year versus 400 at the one I went to. There's more opportunity where I went. The one in Wayne County is completely on the internet. Everyone in the entire world can bid. There is no in-person option there. The ones I go to, it's a cross between some people staying home bidding on the internet and the majority of the people are in the room.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So I ended up buying this for $3,600, sold it for $10,000. Again, it's only a one-bedroom, so he's going to make it into a rental, $6,400 net profit. Jennings is not what it appears. Okay? Looks like a house, doesn't it?
Yes.
Okay? It's a trailer with a wood frame around it. In a subdivision that is, it's not a trailer park, but it's a subdivision all filled with trailers. Okay? And off to the left you can see the garage. Just slightly to the right of the building you can see a shed there. It's a pretty good sized lot. It really is. But they've built a frame around this, and it was still a good deal. So I bought it for $2,700, sold it for $15,000.
Wow.
Profit of $11,500. Okay, this is Floyd. Floyd looks pretty bad in this picture. In person, it didn't quite look this bad. But trust me, it is this bad. This is the one. Okay, this is a great story. On the first auction, for the total amount of back taxes and fees, the auctioneer gets to this property. People start bidding pretty furious. The starting bid was $3,000. He was probably at $4,000, $4,200. The treasurer, who never says a word during the auction, interrupted him and said, "We got a phone call last night. The person who called said that this house is not entirely on this lot that we're selling today." Okay? So he stopped the auction and moved on. And in the beginning of all of his auctions, he has people check off in a catalog what ones that people only want to bid on one or two. So he took and moved on, got to the end of it, took about a 5-minute break. I immediately went over to the treasurer and started talking to her and asking her questions, doing a little bit more research. And what she told me was that it was the previous owner that had called and given that piece of information, and that there's a room or two that are on another lot that she still owns. So I asked a couple more questions. Treasurer couldn't answer them, but some of her assistants there did. I said, are those other lots, are they behind in taxes? And they're like, oh yeah. Which means that in all likelihood, they're going to come up either this year in 13 or maybe in 14. So I made that, because as soon as he stopped the auction, my realtor looked at me and goes, "You need to bid on that." So he was comfortable with the situation. After I got the answers that I liked from the treasurer, I was comfortable with the situation. And then they start in the program book again, and anything that was not bought, they'll put up for re-auction on the same day. And when they got to this, they were really surprised that I put up my paddle. And they were like, well, that's the one there's a boundary dispute on. I said, I know. I said, I want to bid on it. So I was the opening bid at $3,000, got it at $3,900, and turned around and sold it for $7,500 cash, made a net profit of $1,400. So even though there was a problem, I didn't perceive that it was a problem for me.
The math doesn't work.
Well, there was the back tax. The back taxes on this didn't get pushed off. So the New Year's taxes had to be paid out of that.
Whoa.
So where I did push it off on the first three. So, right. But see, what happens is, like when I buy something in the second round, the first tax bill for the year that you assume when you buy that is already past due. So I don't pay them right away. I just wait to see what happens, and sometimes I can negotiate that the buyer picks those up. In this case, it didn't happen.
Okay. Okay, so let's talk about this, okay? Okay, there's nobody doing anything illegal here, but you got to be careful because you're going to an auction and you're bidding a price. So what he did is he bid the price up, and you can see it there, $3,900. But then when he got to the back table to pay, they reminded him that what wasn't paid?
The taxes.
And so now they added that on. Now what did that do to his profit situation?
Dropped.
Okay, did we see the same kind of situation in New York? Yes. Okay, so you just want to... Okay, I don't know what the rules are to the auction you're going to go to, but I'm sure Bill would be able to remind you of the rules of this auction in the future, because I'm sure you got a surprise when you went back to have to pay those taxes.
No, I didn't have to pay them then. We paid them out of closing when I sold it.
But either way, you have to pay them, right?
Right.
So that affected the profit by how much? How much was that tax?
Whatever the difference works out to be mathematical.
Okay,
I think
so
it was under $1,000.
Okay, so whatever it is, you're going to have to pay the tax. So the point is, we've seen the same situation, but the disclosure here is, it's a little foggy, okay? Might be a little opaque. So you need to check if you're determined that you're going to spend a certain dollar. When you get there, don't be surprised. You might want to ask the question first, when you get in the auction room, are all the taxes paid? For example, Linda went, and there was one when she had to pay another $12,000 in addition. That was like a 300% increase in the price. Okay, I'm just making you aware that what we see on the screen might not actually be what you see. It might not be what you get. Okay.
Right.
Thank you, Bill.
Sure. Okay, this is a summary of what happened for me last year. I bought 6 properties at that first auction. My total cost was $39,086. At the second auction, I bought 31 properties, total cost of $17,093.75. For those 2 auctions, I got a total of 37 properties for a total cost of $56,179.75. And with the profits I've already racked up, and based on what everything else I have is listed at, our net profit should be over $280,000 for 1 year. So to do this, to go to those 2 auctions, I spent 6 days. Okay?
Wow.
I had 2 days of research before the first auction. I had 2 days of research before the second auction, and of course I had to attend both of those auctions. Each of them ran between 5 and 6 hours at the auction. So total, even though I worked 6 days, which isn't bad for the whole year, only worked 6 days, I turned around and was able to make over $250,000. So that's what you're dealing with here. That's what the potential is. And even though last time I showed you my first year's what happened, this isn't going to happen immediately. But once you start building here and you get more money and you can do more things, this is a serious business that you can make a lot of money. At my job before this, I've never made more than $100,000 a year in my life, ever. So keep that in mind. This is almost 3 times that. Wow. So this has changed my life tremendously. and I really owe it all to Ted, because without this system, and I still, I have rental property and other stuff. We're just talking about from the auction to it's going to be over $280,000 net profit once the rest of the properties are sold. So thank you, Ted.
Wow, thank you. That was great. That was great. Woo! Woo! Okay.
Can we take a couple questions?
Yeah, thank you. Let's do a couple of those.
Go ahead.
What was your turnaround time on selling the properties?
Okay, the first three properties you see.
Excuse me,
Okay.
either you or I have to repeat it for the audience.
Okay, the question is, what was my turnaround time on selling the properties? The first three properties that I showed that I had sold, I had an agreement in 30 days or less as to what I was going to sell them for. But you can't process the paperwork immediately, because from the time I'm at the auction until I get the deeds in hand, it's 45 days. Okay? Can't sell anything until it's in your name. And it does become in your name a couple days before they arrive in the mail. But we didn't close on them until January, those three. And the other two, it took a little longer. But both of those were under 6 months. And so it was a relatively quick time on those 5 houses. So, yes?
You said you have a realtor you go to the auctions with. Obviously, he's not doing this for free for you. What does he charge you?
He gets all the listings, so he gets all the commissions on all the sales.
Is that a full 7%?
I pay him
Wait, you guys are having a dialogue with each other. I got 45 people out there and another 50 people would like to know what's going on. So your question has to be repeated by him and then an answer, okay?
Okay. All right, your question is, do I give him a full 7%? The answer is no. I pay him 8%. Okay? If he doesn't find the buyer, he gets half of that, which is 4%. If he finds the buyer, he gets all 8%. Yep.
Okay, I got time for 2 more and that's all we have for Bill. So let's take 1 here and 1 there and that's all there's going to be. You go first.
So in Michigan, with these 2 rounds, they would not necessarily have a struck-off list then, because they're really working hard to get rid of everything on that second round?
The question is there a strike-off list in Michigan? Yes, there is. And I must have talked fast, but probably out of the roughly 420 properties that were on there, about 5 ended up on that list at the end of both of these auctions. So very few, very, very, very minimal. Go ahead.
Do you have redemption or
Do I have a what?
redemption for the...
No. Okay. In Michigan, he was asking if there's any kind of redemption period. There is not. Now, part of the reason that from the time you're at the auction until they send you the deed, they go through this bureaucratic system of the auction company collects the money, they cash the checks, then they forward the stuff to the treasurer has to examine things, and then from there her stuff goes to the
rest of the bureaucracy.
The bureaucracy, and then from there it goes back to her. She's the one that mails them out. And in that process, in that 45-day window, one of the things that they're kind of looking for is somebody in bankruptcy that they didn't know about. That would cancel it, and you would get your full refund on that. Or if somebody had a guardianship and they were notified but the guardian wasn't notified. So those are the couple, and they say typically statewide that only happens once or twice for the whole year. So it's a very rare occasion. I've now bought a total of 62 properties in Michigan over 3 years. I've never had that happen to me. One time I had a deed not show up, but I got another deed from that county. This was in 2011, and I immediately called them and said, what's going on? Because I was expecting, with only 1 deed there, am I getting a deed and a check? And they're like, so they looked it up and they're like, no, it's yours. So they told me they were going to send me a Xerox copy of the deed. It never showed up, but it's mine anyway. So it's all that mattered, and I have sold that property without the deed, because you don't need the deed in hand. As long as you're on the records, that's where the title company checks for all that information.
Okay, go ahead and finish
Follow-up
yours.
question?
So when they advertise the dates of the sales, coming up the first round, do they advertise the second round right away so that you know when the second round is gonna be? Because they're assuming they're not all gonna sell.
Just
Okay.
one question at a time. You got to repeat them.
Okay. Her question is, do they advertise all the auctions at once? The rounds, okay. The last 2 years they have not. The first year I went, they did advertise what they knew of the second round at that point in time. But they're trying to discourage people waiting to get the bargains down the road, so only some of the experienced people know this and have figured it out. And I will tell you, between the 300 in the first auction and the 250 in the second, maybe there was 5 of us that were both of those auctions. Landlords come to the first round because they want houses. They feel if a house didn't go in the first round, it's junk. And so it's just a different ballgame. But those lots that I bought between $100 and $800 in the first round started at either $2,700 or $3,000. I'm not paying that much money for them. So things that were too expensive because the taxes are too high, that's the stuff that's the most successful in the second round.
So can we email you in the second?
See me afterwards and we'll
See
we'll
me later. I'll
exchange
make you a deal.
That's right.
Yeah, okay.
So,
Now, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure, Ted.
Where would you be if you learned this 10 years ago?
I'd be really wealthy today.
Really wealthy today.
Really wealthy
But this has
today.
been going on all that time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been longer than that, 200 years.
200 years has been going on. And so people that learned it, they're just chipping away. Like Bob, he just keeps doing it. Now we got Bill doing it. Look how many he's done in just a few years. So let's really show him how much we appreciate him telling the story. Great job. Great job.
All right, thank
Big
you.
improvement. Big improvement. Great job.